Hi guys, welcome back. I hope you're blessed. I hope that part one of my testimony was a blessing to you. It was kind of hard, like when they uploaded it, well, even before I uploaded it and I looked back, I'm like, vulnerability, that's what that's called. But I thank God that he gave me the words to even start and put myself out there. Like, definitely encouragement from the Lord. So if you did watch part one, comment down below. If you haven't, go watch that one first, because I'm just gonna jump into where I left off. So I'll leave that video link in the description box, so check it out before you watch this one if you haven't watched the first part. So where did I leave off? So I think I left off where my husband came back to the Lord. We became ministers. Well, he became a minister. I'm a minister's wife. We were youth pastors. And like when I go back and I think about that, it's all the goodness of God. Like the road that we were on was very destructive, not only for ourselves, but for like our relationship. And so I thank God every day. Like there was so many times where I felt like this is it. Like it's not gonna be home renting anymore, or my kids aren't gonna have a two-parent home. All that stuff, like all that went into my head. But thank God that he is merciful and full of grace, and he takes us out of places and puts us where we need to be. Like he puts us on solid ground. And so after 10 years of being in the church that we were ministering at, my husband's job had said they were going to relocate, or they were going to lay off some people. My husband's a district manager for a company, and they were going to, like, the districts that they have were going to make them, they were going to expand them, so they didn't need as many district managers. So my husband was like, he called me at work. I was working at the high school that my son was attending, I believe. My daughter had just started. My youngest daughter had just started at the high school. My son had just graduated, and I was about to graduate. COVID hit, all that stuff. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say the C word, but whatever. It did happen. So the pandemic had hit, but I was still having to go into work because the teachers were doing like the online stuff, and I was a para for the SPED program, and so I was working with the teachers and stuff. So he called me at work one day and was like, so I have some news. I knew that he was already going to have they were going to have a big like meeting or something, the whole company. And he goes, and he had told me, he goes, I have a feeling that I'm going to be cut. Like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're settled here. The kids are in school here. Like, I started working, like just a whole bunch of craziness. And so, he calls me at work and he said, I have news. And I was like, oh gosh. He was like, okay. So they are offering me a severance package. or I can stay on as like backup kind of, or if something were to open, I could take it. But if nothing happens, then I'm out of a job. So he was like, and he didn't know what to do because, okay, take the severance, but he also has to look for a job in the meantime, or wait on the sidelines and hope something comes up. And I mean, he just didn't know. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. And he was like, they should be calling me soon to let me know, or something like that. I was just like, okay, like, what do you want to do? And I always tell my husband, like, my favorite part of Ruth's story in the Bible is when she tells Naomi, where you go, I go, your people will be my people, your God will be my God. That has stuck with me as a wife. Like, I tell my husband, where you go, I go, your people are my people, your God, my God. Like, I'm gonna follow you wherever you feel the Lord's leading us. So I told him, whatever happens, happens. Like, I am with you 100%. Like, and so he was like, okay. He goes, I'm gonna think about it. I'm thinking of just staying on with the company since I've been with them for a few years, and see where it goes. But in the meantime, I'll be looking for another job. I was like, okay, I trust you. I know what you're gonna do, and I know that you have our family's best interests, and I know that you're gonna pray about it, all that stuff, and I will be in prayer. The next day, I believe, well, he had told his boss, this is what I want to do, stay on, blah, blah, blah. The next day, I get a call from him while I was at work, and he goes, so, you will never believe, he goes, I'm not going to have to wait the 6 months for something to come up. They have a spot for me, but we have to relocate. And I was like, okay, like, okay, where? And he was like, just guess. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know where the stores are located. It's stores that he works for. And I was like, I don't know where your stores are located. Like, I couldn't tell you what city, state, whatever. He goes, just guess. And I was like, I don't know. I said one state, and he was like, no, that's not it. And I was like, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. He was like, okay. They called me today and offered me a spot in the north. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking all the states in the north, like, okay. And he was like, so it would be, he goes that we could choose upstate New York, Ohio, or Michigan. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm originally from Michigan. That's where we got married. Like, my family's here. I've been away from my family for 10 years. Like, what? Like, okay. Like, I would always say I would never move back to Michigan. Texas is my home now. I love Texas. I mean, even now, like, if the opportunity were to come up, I would definitely move back. Like, I love Texas. And where we were, it wasn't like a glamorous area. Like, we were not like in San Antonio or Austin or Dallas or Houston, all the, the bigger cities. We were in like the way down by Mexico border area. Like, but for some reason, I just loved it. I don't know. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. And so I was like, wait, what? And he goes, we can live on, he goes, my main office space would be near Detroit. So that way it's easier for me to travel to those, through those 3 states. He goes, because I have stores in those 3 states and I have to travel, blah, blah, blah. I was used to him not traveling as much, because where we were in the valley of Texas, it was just like a few cities and they were just like right across. And I was just like, okay, like, this is crazy. I was like, what are you thinking? He goes, it would be nice to be close to your family, blah, blah, blah. You know, I have a feeling this is going to be okay. Like, it's like, okay, sweet. Let's do it. We ended up sitting my kids down. My oldest daughter was already married. I believe she was pregnant, or like fairly pregnant or something. I don't remember. And we sat them down. My husband was like, we can include her and her husband, not because we want them to come with us, but just to let them know, like, hey, we're leaving. So we sat them down and we told them, okay, we told all of them, this is what's happening with the job, blah, blah, blah. And we're gonna relocate. So my husband went down the table and was like, I need your guys' opinion, your honesty, like all that, because if I feel hesitation, then it's not, the right time. He asked my youngest daughter, and he asked my oldest daughter first and her husband. He goes, I'm not asking you to move with us. I don't want you to move with us. You guys are your own family now, but I want you to be, included in this family discussion or, decision. And my daughter goes, well, we'll pray about it. Like, we would love to move. Her husband had never moved out of Texas. He was born and raised there. And so he hadn't really even traveled out of Texas. And he goes, because he had come with us to Michigan for a wedding prior and loved it. He fell in love with it. So he said, no, I've been having it on my heart too, that I want to move up there. Like, I loved it so much. And we're like, what? Okay. And so we're telling him, don't make any rash decisions, because we're moving. You guys need to deal with that on, in your own relationship, your own time with God, stuff like that. Asked my son, because he had just turned 18, and he's technically, he could go on his own. Like, so my husband was like, you're 18, you can make your own decision, you can stay here if you'd like, or you can come with us. And he goes, Dad, wherever the Lord takes you, I'm gonna go, and so I'm gonna go with you. Okay, like, and then he asked my daughter. My daughter was like, he asked my youngest, and she goes, when are we leaving? Like, I never liked it here. And we thought, like, she enjoyed it, like, and so, like, everything started falling into place. We got dismissed from our church, which was a very emotional time. Like, I still go back and I think about it, like, just the friendships and the connections that we made there. We were like right hands to our pastor and his wife and family, and like, my best friend is still there. I think the Lord allowed us to go down there to gain their friendship. Like, my best friend and her husband are our best friends, like, and our kids are around the same age. And she has just been a rock. Hi, Sheila, if you're watching. And I'm not gonna get emotional, not again. So, and like, our husbands are like the same person. They're both bald, they both have beard and goatees, whatever. Like, not like they look alike. I don't think they look alike, but just how they think, how they communicate. It's just crazy. My best friend she's been amazing and has been there through thick and thin, and we've seen our kids grow up, and she's been there to witness my oldest, like, with her changes in life and all that stuff. And so anyways, it was like a very bittersweet moment, moving and, coming up to Michigan. But I was also excited because my family was here. not really close to my family, but I felt like this was an opportunity to be, and I believe that God ordained this move, because even me going to my employer, since I worked for a high school, I had to go and speak to one of the assistant principals to let her know that I was leaving. And she, even that job was ordained by God, because my person I had to go to directly was a pastor's wife. And so, and she's a beautiful person. Like, Miss Torres, if you're watching, which I don't know if you are, you were a guiding light for me. And so I went to talk to her, and she told me a vision that the Lord had given her that week or week before about like some fireballs, like from the valley where we lived, and it was just shooting across the state, or the United States, and one happened to hit Michigan. And she goes, I feel like the Lord is taking you there to do something. And I'm like, what? She goes, even before you walked in my door to tell me your situation, the Lord had showed me that vision again. And I feel like he was telling me to let you know, like, it's good, like, you're good, you're gonna go and do something there. And I'm just like, what in the world? Like, God, you are simply amazing, like, simply amazing. And so we moved. We hadn't found a church. We were kind of like iffy since, leaving, our ministry. And in Texas, we were like, where do we go? We didn't even move to the east side of the Michigan. We moved to the west side. My husband had asked his boss if it was okay, so that way we could be in between an area where my family is and his brother. His brother is the only like close family he has. He has like extended family, but I was just like, okay, like, this is, and where we live now, where we moved to when we first moved up here, is the city I was born in. So even that's like crazy. Like, I would never have thought to move back to a place where I was born. Like, God works in mysterious ways, and we will never understand. So we moved, and we were just driving around one time, at night, and me and my husband, since we were getting used to the area, I had never lived in the city where I was born. So I wouldn't know. Like, even now, where I live now, I still need navigation. But he was like, we had stopped in this parking lot to find, I think it was a pizza place or something. And we look up, and it was a church, and it was called Faith Church. And we were like, okay, like, my husband, every time we attend a church or visit a church or something, he'll look it up, see what they believe and all that stuff. And he goes, this is what we believe. Like, they believe in the Lord, believe, in the word, blah, blah, blah. We were like, okay, let's visit. We ended up visiting one Sunday. The people there were very welcoming. Like, we ended up finding out that they have connections that we have in Texas, which was crazy. Like, they knew one of the pastors that we would invite to our youth camps. They had a real close connection with him, which was crazy. Like, just all this just sounds like a movie, but it's totally, it's all God. Like, so we ended up attending there for a little bit, just off and on. We still weren't, getting the vibe or whatever. Like, sweet people. Like, I still communicate with, one or two of them, but we felt like it wasn't like our permanent spot. Like, my youngest daughter made friends, and then, all that teenage stuff fell out, whatever. We ended up moving to another City, outskirts of Grand Rapids, and Maverick City came into town, and we were like, they were going to be at the church, at this church, and so we were like, let's go. Bought tickets. We loved, because the pastor and his wife go on stage and introduce and, you know, all that stuff, and we were like, we just felt genuine, like a genuine connection. So we were like, well, let's visit one Sunday or something. We fell in love, and we've been there ever since. But I have been in church since I was little, since I was a baby, pretty much. But I never had a genuine connection. Like, I had the religion, but I never had the relationship with God. And attending this church I don't know what clicked in me that I needed to get closer to God. I needed to figure out who he was for myself. And then I was just scrolling on TikTok one day, and this girl popped up, and she was like doing a Bible challenge. She was like, this is how you do it, or this is how I do it. She goes, I read one book of the Bible a month. She goes, it can go with the corresponding days, you know, whatever. Like, so if there's 31 days in the month, you read a book of the Bible that has 31 chapters. So you're reading a chapter a day. And I was like, oh, I can do that. Like, I need to do that. I know there's a Bible. I know what's in the Bible, but I don't know the depth. I didn't know. And so I was like, let's do that. And I believe that was last September, October, maybe. I started doing that, and it changed my life. Like I said, I had that religion, I had the understanding, but I didn't have the understanding, and I didn't have the knowing of who God was, and the just how big he is. And even like throughout my years of life, I've seen miracles, and I've seen things happen for others, even myself, from the car accidents. I've been in so many car accidents. I have a scar that goes from here, like to like right here. I had 56 stitches when I was 8 or 9. I was in a car accident. The Satan's trying to take me out in a car accident, y'all. Like, but it's not gonna happen. Like, unless that's the way the Lord wants me to go out. Like, I have had relationships, lost relationships. I have dealt with abandonment issues because of being left by my parents with my grandparents. I've had issues with not trusting because of that situation, as well as like being bullied by friends, you know, in high school, or like middle school, high school, all that stuff. I tried to like change myself so people could like me, and it took me 41 years, you guys, to figure out that I don't need people the way I think I need people. I need God first, and he's going to put the people in my life that I need. And I've always told my kids too, because, you know, with the whole like school situation, there's like, oh, they're not my friend anymore, this is what happened. I'm like, God's going to put people in your life for short periods of time, like for seasons, or for a lifetime. And I believe that throughout my life, I've had people in my life for seasons. And I'm realizing that the people that I have in my life now are, I feel that the Lord has placed in my life for a reason, and that those are lifetimes. And so I thank God. Like, I thank God because I am dealing with my issues that I've dealt with. I have siblings, like all my siblings are half siblings. I have two half sisters with my mom, or through my mom, and through my dad I have two half sisters and two half brothers, and then I have step siblings. Never had like close connections with them, and even that is something that I've dealt with. I'm not gonna cry. Just knowing that I have I'm not gonna do this. Okay. Just knowing that I have siblings. One of my sisters I am close with. Like, she calls me and we just laugh. Like, I can always count on her to laugh with. But I feel like terrible with my other siblings because I'm dealing with my own issues. I've never like put myself out there to have like that close connection, close connections with, and I'm praying that I keep, that's on my prayer board, to have, close relationships with my siblings and my, my father, my biological father. And through the Lord's working, my biological father came and visited us around my birthday this past November. Okay, let's circle back. A year and a few months after we moved back up to Michigan, my biological mother passed away. And I never had like that close relationship with her. I called her by her name. That's how close we were. Like, I didn't have that mother-daughter relationship. And I envied my sisters because they lived with her. They got to know who she was. But I always say the Lord kept me from heartbreak and stuff. And so I had tried living with her when I was like 3. And then I only knew my grandparents, so I moved back with my grandparents. And then when I was 9, I turned 10, I lived with her, and house got raided and all that stuff. I felt like that wasn't a lifestyle that I knew, and I guess I had anxiety. I don't know. I need to hurry up and wrap this up. So on her deathbed, she oh, my sister's calling me. On my deathbed, I mean, not on my deathbed, on her deathbed, she told me she was sorry, and that's all that I needed. And then a year later, my grandfather dad passed away, and he was like the rock of the family. And I feel like the Lord brought us up here so that I could be here for those two passings, and to start healing. And I believe this past birthday, when my biological father came, I got to talk to him in a way I've never talked to him. I got to open up, and God's just merciful, and he's gracious, and that's what I want. That's what I thrive to do. Like, I want to give mercy and grace, and I want to show love, and that's all that the Lord is. And so I'm working on other things in my life, finding myself, because like I said, I was only trying to fit in to a box that I felt people seen me in. And So that's why I said this year is a year of doing things that scare me, because I kept holding off on school because I'm like, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And the Lord was like, let me show you where you need to be. And I'm over here, I want to do this. I want to be in criminal justice. I want to be a fashion designer. I want to have a small business. I want to, I'm putting myself in a box that I see myself in, but I never put it in God's hands, and I never trusted him. And that's definitely this year. It's putting trust in God and allowing him to guide me. So I kept seeing these ads pop up for education, and I do have my associates in elementary ed. I got it when I was in South Texas, and I felt like, okay, Lord, this is where you want me to be. And one of the colleges that kept popping up all the time on my feeds, on social media, was the school that I'm attending, and it's Christian based. So I just know it's all God ordained. And, there may be times and trials where you feel like you're alone and God's not there, but he's there. He's just, it's through a test. Like when you're in school, I heard this preacher say, when you're in school, the teacher's not talking when you're testing, but she's still there. He's still there. And the same with God. Like, you may feel like he's not around through your tests and trials, but he's still there. He hears you, and he's going to see you through. He's your guidance. He's your patience. He's your comforter. He's your father. And through this whole testimony, I am growing and learning who God is, and I am trusting and believing that he is leading us, not just me, but me and my husband, as well as my children. They're adults now, but in my prayer board, I still pray for them, because they have to grow in their own relationship with God, and I don't want them to falter and fall like I did. I mean, they've had their issues, but through a mother's prayer and through a father's prayer, your children will be saved. And even if it takes generations, just like in, I believe it's Psalm, where it says your children's children. Like, all that being said, I thank God. I thank God for the life that I've lived, for the life that for the experiences that I've been through, the tests and the trials. And I know that it's not just me. God is there for you too. He's there for your family. And so, with that being said, since it's over 30 minutes, and I hope you stayed, I pray that you are blessed. If you have any prayer requests, leave them down below, or you can find me on social media, on Instagram. Facebook, I keep it more for my family, but on Instagram, it's Tina Wonderfully Made, the same as the name here. And you can message me if you have a prayer request, because I am also learning to pray. And it doesn't have to be something, elaborate or crazy, but just knowing that it's coming from a genuine place, the Lord will hear, and he will work in his timing and in his in his will. So I thank you for watching. If you stayed to the end, you are amazing. And you watched all the tears and the craziness, but I thank you for being here. I thank you for, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe, comment, share something about you. Share what God has done in your life. I would love to hear that. And like. So, now that it's 35 minutes, I want to say God bless, and I hope to see you in the next video. Talk to you later.